No one in Brightfield community ever forgot that afternoon. The sun was hot. The road was busy. Students were returning from school, laughing, shouting, dragging their feet on the dusty path. Amara walked at the front. Her uniform was always neat. Her bag was expensive. Her voice carried authority, the kind that made other students step aside without being told. People knew Amara. Not because she was kind, but because she was proud. Beside her walked Zainab, her classmate, quiet, observant, always respectful. While Amara talked loudly on her phone, Zainab noticed something ahead. An old woman. Bent. Slow. Barefoot. She was struggling to carry a sack filled with empty plastic bottles. Sweat ran down her wrinkled face as she stopped every few steps to breathe. The old woman raised her trembling hand. "My daughters, please help me." Before Zainab could even respond, Amara hissed loudly. "Can you imagine this nonsense?" Zainab stopped walking. "Mama, are you okay?" she asked softly. That was when Amara snapped. "Are you mad?" she shouted. "Why do poor people always disturb students?" The old woman bowed her head. "I just need help crossing the road." Amara laughed. "Help? With this smell on you? Don't you have children?" The street slowed. People began to look. Zainab reached out to hold the sack. "I'll help you, Mama." That was when Amara lost control. She grabbed Zainab's arm violently. "Don't touch her." The old woman tried to step back. "I'm sorry." Slap. The sound cracked through the air. The old woman fell to the ground. Silence swallowed the street. Zainab screamed. "Amara! What did you do?" Amara stood frozen for half a second, then pride covered her fear. "She deserved it," she said coldly. "Old beggars are a nuisance." People rushed to help the old woman up. She did not cry. She did not shout. She only looked at Amara. And when she spoke, her voice was calm. "You will remember this day, my child." Amara laughed. "Get out of my sight." The old woman picked herself up slowly, dusted her wrapper, and walked away. No one noticed the black car parked across the road. No one noticed the man inside watching everything. Amara's knees pressed into the cold floor, but pride still fought inside her chest. "I didn't know," she said quickly. "If I knew who she was, I wouldn't have." The old woman lifted her hand. "So if I was truly poor," she said calmly, "your slap would be correct?" The words landed heavy. Amara opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Her father looked at her with disappointment she had never seen before. "You insulted a woman who helped build this family," he said quietly. "Worse, you insulted a human being." Tears rushed to Amara's eyes, not from remorse, but from fear. Mama Sola walked closer. Her steps were slow, steady, controlled. "When I stood on that road today," she said, "I was not testing strength. I was testing character." She looked at Amara's shaking hands. "You failed." Amara's mother began to cry softly. "Please," Amara whispered. "I'm sorry." Mama Sola studied her for a long moment. "Sorry because you were exposed," she replied, "or sorry because you were cruel?" Amara's lips trembled. I don't know." Mama Sola nodded once. "That is the truth." She turned to Amara's parents. "I do not want her expelled from school," she said. "Education is not the problem." Amara lifted her head in relief. "But she will learn," Mama Sola continued. Amara's relief vanished. The next morning, Amara walked into school with her head lowered for the first time in her life. Students stared. Some whispered. Some pointed. The video had grown beyond the school. It had reached the town. During assembly, the principal stepped forward. "We will address yesterday's incident," he announced. Amara's heart slammed against her chest. Mama Sola walked onto the stage. Gasps rippled through the crowd. "That's the old woman," someone whispered. Zainab's breath caught. Mama Sola took the microphone. "I am not here to shame a child," she said. "I am here to teach a lesson." Her eyes found Amara. "When you raise your hand against the weak, you reveal who you truly are." Silence. "I once begged on the streets myself," Mama Sola continued. "Not because I was lazy, but because life broke me." Students leaned forward. "But kindness rebuilt me." She paused. "And pride destroys faster than poverty ever will." She handed the microphone back and stepped down. The principal turned to Amara. "You will apologize. Publicly." Amara's legs felt weak as she walked forward. Her voice shook. I'm sorry," she said, staring at the ground. Mama Sola looked at her. "Look at me." Amara lifted her head slowly. "I'm sorry," she repeated, louder this time. Mama Sola nodded. "Sit. That should have been the end. But consequences don't always stop where embarrassment begins." That afternoon, Amara's father took her to a small community center at the edge of town. "Why are we here?" she asked quietly. He didn't answer. Inside, elderly people sat on wooden benches. Some coughed. Some stared blankly at the wall. Mama Sola was there. "This is where you will come every weekend," she said. Amara frowned. "For what?" "To serve," Mama Sola replied. "To listen. To learn." Amara swallowed. "But I have plans. I have friends. I have—" "You have arrogance," Mama Sola interrupted gently. "And it must be broken before it ruins you." Amara wanted to protest. But her father's eyes told her this was not negotiable. On the first Saturday, Amara arrived late. She complained. She dragged her feet. She rolled her eyes. An old man asked for water. She sighed loudly before helping him. Mama Sola watched everything. On the third weekend, something changed. Amara noticed the way an elderly woman's hands shook when she held a cup. She noticed how loneliness sounded louder than hunger. One woman held Amara's hand and said, "Thank you, my daughter." For the first time, Amara felt uncomfortable, not with them, but with herself. That night, she cried alone in her room. Not because she was punished, but because she remembered the slap. Days turned into weeks. Amara spoke less. Listened more. Zainab watched quietly. One afternoon, Zainab approached her. "I'm glad you're changing," she said softly. Amara looked at her. "I wasn't strong," she admitted. "I was loud." Zainab smiled gently. "That's how growth starts." Across town, Mama Sola sat alone, looking at an old photograph. "Let's see," she whispered, "if this lesson will last." And far away, someone else was watching Amara's journey closely, someone whose arrival would test whether her change was real, or just fear in disguise. Amara did not know she was being watched. To her, life had simply slowed down. She no longer rushed through the streets with her chin lifted high. She no longer laughed loudly to prove she mattered. When people spoke, she listened. When elders talked, she stayed quiet. The sharp edge she once carried had begun to dull, and sometimes that scared her more than punishment ever did. One evening, as the sun bled into the sky, her father called her into his study. "Sit," he said. Amara obeyed. "There is something you must understand," he continued. "Mama Sola is not just an old woman with a past." Amara lifted her eyes. "She built this town," he said. Not with money alone, but with mercy. She helps without noise. And when she withdraws her hand, people fall. Amara felt a chill. Why is she helping me then? She asked quietly. Her father looked at her for a long time. Because she sees what you could become, he said. Or what you could destroy. That night, Amara barely slept. The next weekend at the community center, Mama Sola asked Amara to sit beside her. You have been quiet, she said. I'm trying to learn, Amara replied honestly. Mama Sola nodded. Tell me, she asked, if nobody had seen you slap me, would you be sitting here today? The question cut deep. Amara swallowed. No, she admitted. Mama Sola smiled faintly. That is why accountability is mercy in disguise. An old woman nearby began to cough violently. Without being asked, Amara rushed to get water. She held the cup carefully, steadying trembling hands. Mama Sola watched. This time, she said nothing. 2 days later, a new student arrived at school. Her name was Lila. She wore simple clothes. Her accent was different. She spoke softly, the way people do when they are used to being ignored. By lunchtime, whispers had started. She looks poor. She's strange. She doesn't belong here. Amara heard it all. Once, she would have joined in. Instead, she felt her stomach twist. During break, she saw Lila sitting alone, her food untouched. A group of girls walked past her, laughing loudly. One of them kicked Lila's lunchbox. Food spilled onto the ground. Lila froze. The girls laughed harder. Something inside Amara snapped, not in anger, but in memory. She walked over. Pick it up, Amara said firmly. The girls turned, shocked. What? You heard me. They hesitated, then laughed nervously. Why do you care? Amara's voice was steady. Because I know what cruelty looks like. Slowly, one of them bent down and picked up the lunchbox. The others followed. The corridor was silent. Amara turned to Lila. Come sit with us, she said. Lila looked up, eyes wide. Really? Amara nodded. Yes. From a distance, Zainab smiled. From even farther away, Mama Sola heard about it that evening. And for the first time, she allowed herself a small smile. But change always attracts resistance. Amara's old friends didn't like the new her. You're becoming boring, one of them said. You're acting like a saint, another mocked. Amara said nothing. She had learned that silence was sometimes strength. That same week, rumors resurfaced. Some said Amara was pretending. Some said she was trying to impress Mama Sola. Others said, people don't change. Amara heard it all. And for the first time, she didn't try to defend herself. One afternoon, Mama Sola sent for her. They sat under a mango tree. You are at a crossroads, Mama Sola said calmly. Why? Amara asked. Because the world will soon test whether your humility is real. Amara's heart tightened. How? Mama Sola stood up slowly. You will be given power. Amara frowned. Power? Yes, she replied. And power reveals the truth faster than suffering ever can. Amara felt fear creep in. What kind of power? Mama Sola looked straight into her eyes. The power to decide someone else's fate. Amara's breath caught. I don't want that, she said quickly. Mama Sola smiled knowingly. No one ever does, she said. Until it is placed in their hands. She turned and walked away, leaving Amara under the mango tree, heart pounding, mind racing. She didn't know it yet. But very soon, the same town that watched her fall would watch her choose. And that choice would decide everything. Amara did not understand Mama Sola's words fully, but she felt their weight settle inside her chest like a stone. 2 days later, the test came. It started quietly, the way life-changing moments often do. The school announced a new program, one sponsored personally by Mama Sola. A full scholarship. Not just school fees, but books, housing, food, and guaranteed placement into a top university after graduation. Only one student would be chosen. The announcement shook the school. Names flew through the air like birds. Amara will get it. She's connected. It's already decided. Amara heard the whispers and felt sick. That afternoon, she was called into the principal's office. Mama Sola was there. So soon? Amara thought. Mama Sola gestured for her to sit. You know why you're here, she said calmly. Amara shook her head. You will help me choose the recipient of the scholarship, Mama Sola said. Amara's breath caught. Me? Yes. But I don't deserve. Mama Sola raised her hand. This is not a reward, she said. It is a mirror. Amara's hands trembled. You will review the files, Mama Sola continued. You will listen. You will decide. And I will watch. That night, Amara barely slept. The files were many. Students with perfect grades. Students with broken homes. Students who worked at night to eat in the morning. One file stopped her heart. Zainab. Top of her class. Mother sick. Father gone. Quiet. Consistent. Invisible. Amara stared at the paper for a long time. Then another file. Lila. New student. Orphan. Living with a distant aunt. Bullied. Still hopeful. Amara felt the familiar pull of power whisper to her. You could choose anyone. You could choose yourself. You could choose popularity. She closed the files and cried. For the first time, she understood what Mama Sola meant. On decision day, the hall was full. Students held their breath. Mama Sola stood beside Amara. Speak, she said. Amara stepped forward. Her voice shook at first, then steadied. This scholarship, she said, is not about brilliance alone. It is about resilience. She paused. There are 2 people who deserve this more than anyone. Murmurs spread. I will not choose myself, Amara said firmly. Gasps filled the room. I choose Zainab and Lila. Silence. The principal stood up, shocked. There is only one. I will fund the second, Amara interrupted. Mama Sola turned sharply. Amara looked at her. I don't have her money, Amara said. But I have mine. And I don't need it more than they do. Zainab covered her mouth. Lila froze in disbelief. Mama Sola's eyes filled with tears she did not hide. That evening, Mama Sola invited Amara to her home. You passed, she said simply. Amara exhaled like she had been holding her breath for years. I slapped you, Amara whispered. I hurt you. Mama Sola nodded. And today, you healed more than one person. She reached for Amara's hands. Listen to me, she said. Kindness does not erase the past. But it gives the future a chance. Amara nodded, crying quietly. Years passed. Zainab became a doctor. Lila became a teacher. Both changed countless lives. Amara chose a quieter path. She worked with Mama Sola. Built centers. Funded schools. Never announced her name. One afternoon, a young girl stopped her on the road. Madam, the girl said softly, please help me. Amara knelt. She did not ask questions. She did not judge. She helped. From a distance, Mama Sola watched, leaning on her stick. She smiled. Because the lesson had held. And the town never forgot the story of the proud student who slapped an old woman. And learned, too late but not too late. That true power is not in the hand that strikes, but in the heart that changes. The story did not end there. People often think endings are loud, weddings, applause, sudden miracles. But the real ending of Amara's story was quiet. Years later, Mama Sola passed away peacefully in her sleep. No sirens. No drama. Just a handwritten note beside her bed. It read, "Character is what you do when nobody is watching. If you are reading this, continue the work." Amara held that note for a long time. She did not cry immediately. Because Mama Sola had already prepared her heart. On the day of the burial, the town shut down. Elders came. Students came. Widows came. Men who once slept hungry because of Mama Sola now stood tall, telling stories of how she saved their lives. Then something unexpected happened. Amara was asked to speak. She stood before the crowd, not dressed expensively, not introduced with titles. Just Amara. "I was once cruel," she said softly. "I was once proud." Murmurs spread. "I slapped this woman," Amara continued, her voice steady. "And instead of destroying me, she rebuilt me." She paused, breathing deeply. "If Mama Sola taught me anything," she said, "it is this: your worst moment does not have to be your last chapter." The crowd was silent. "And your kindness," she added, "may outlive you." Years later still, a rumor spread through the same streets where everything began. They said an old woman now walks that road every morning. Bent. Slow. Asking softly for help. Some people pass her. Some look away. But every time, without fail, a young person steps forward. Not because they are rich. Not because they are praised. But because the story was told. Again and again. Until it changed a generation. And somewhere in the quiet distance, Mama Sola's lesson lived on. Not in fear. Not in punishment. But in hearts that chose humility over pride. If this story touched your heart, don't scroll away. Like this video. To honor kindness. Share it. So this lesson reaches someone who truly needs it. And subscribe to this channel. For more powerful stories that change lives. One heart at a time.